Hi, my name is Kelly Cheatham. I'm a digital learning specialist for Fort Worth ISD. In this video, we're going to look at some of the newest Google Meet updates. These include your new host controls, the ability to blur your background, the ability to change your layout and include more than 16 tiles, and lastly, the ability to open what's called a Jam, which is a digital whiteboard space for you to use. So we're going to get started by looking at those host controls. When you enter the Meet as the first adult, you will go ahead and grab the host capabilities. And when you do so, in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see a little shield icon. This is the icon that you can click on to access those host controls. When you click on that, it will pop up this little menu, and you'll notice that you have three different options. The first option has to do with how your students join your Meet. It's called Quick Access. If you have it turned on, it means that all students and staff within Fort Worth ISD can automatically join your Meet without having to request. Anybody outside of Fort Worth ISD will have to request to join. The second option allows people to share their screen. When you have it turned on, anyone has the option to present now. When you have it turned off, only the host has that option. And our last host control allows you to turn on or off the chat messages for everyone in your Meet. So when your quick access is turned on like it is now, like I said, anybody can come in. When you turn it off, when a student tries to join your Google Meet, even if they are enrolled in your course, so if you start this Google Meet, for example, with the Google Classroom link, even if they are enrolled in that course and they come to join your Google Meet, you will be prompted to admit them. And so I'm going to go ahead and have a student join our Meet right now. You'll notice that I turned off quick access, so I will get a little pop-up message that asks me to either admit or deny his entry. So this is a great way to kind of close off and secure your Meet as you get started. That way you don't have people joining as you're not able to kind of see them come in. Like I said, our second host control option allows my students to share their screen or not. And then my last one, I can turn on or off that chat. The next thing we're going to look at in our Google Meet updates is located in the three dots in the bottom right-hand corner. You'll notice that you have the ability to turn on background blur. This is something that you as the host have. This is also something that your students or your participants will have as well. When they come in here and they click on turn on background blur, if their background allows it, it will go ahead and blur the things in the background. Unfortunately, based on the way my camera is set up right now, my background cannot be blurred, so I got that little error message. But if your students are in a location where the background could be blurred, it will go ahead and make everything behind them a little bit fuzzier. That way you're not seeing all the details. The next thing we're going to look at is also in our three dots. And this time we're going to go to change layout. In the past, many of you probably have installed what's called the grid view extension so that you could see all of your students on your screen at the same time. This new Google Meet update makes it so that you no longer need that extension. You'll notice that when you open up your layouts, if you have auto or tiled selected, you can then go ahead and change the number of tiles you'll see. The default is 16, but you can then come down here in this little slider bar and move it either towards the right to allow for more or towards the left to allow for less. And so you can have up to 49 students showing in your Meet at the same time with the built-in Google Meet feature. The final update we're going to look at today is our ability to open a whiteboard or a Jam. To get to our whiteboard feature, we're going to come down to the bottom right-hand corner where we see the three dots, and we're going to go up to that top option, Whiteboard. When I click on this, it's going to prompt me to either start a new whiteboard or choose one that I already have saved in my Google Drive. Now, when we open a whiteboard, it's going to open in what's called Google Jamboard. Google Jams can be created right from your Google Drive as well, and so you could come in and prepare it ahead of time, or like I said, you could start a blank one right from your Meet. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new whiteboard here, and it's going to open my Jam in a new window. Now, you'll notice that all of the students who are in your Google Meet will be listed here, and you'll be prompted to share this Jam with anybody in your Meet, and you can change this from view to edit depending on how you're going to use that Jamboard. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in just a minute. You could also come in and turn on link sharing right here. If you know you're going to have students who enter your Meet afterwards, so after you've already created your jam, you may want to click on this option so you don't have to come in and change this manually. So either way, it depends on how you set up your Meet here. And then you'll click on send. And now, like I said, it's opening our jam in a new window. So Google Jamboard looks like this. You're going to see your blank frame here. And then most of your features are located on the left-hand side. So really quickly, a preview of your features. You have a pen tool, so you can freehand draw or write. You have your eraser tool. You have your selector tool. You have a sticky note tool, which is great for brainstorming. You'll notice that when you finish your first sticky note and hit save, it will prompt you immediately to make a new one. Underneath that, we have the ability to add an image, and you can upload from your computer. You can search Google Images, you can upload from your drive, or you can add from your photos. You have a shape tool. The default shape is the circle, but if you click on the little tiny arrow next to the circle, you'll see some other options. You have a text box tool. And then your last one here is your laser pointer. So if you are presenting to students in your Google Meet and you wanted to draw attention to something, you could circle or point to it, and then that laser will disappear after a second. So those are your features on your left-hand side. You also have the ability to change the background to one of their preset ones. And so they have some of the different options you might need as you're teaching. So if you needed to draw or to do something on lined paper, you have that, or you even have like grid paper if you're teaching something graphing related. Up in the top, you can add extra frames. So right now we only have one frame created, but to add a new one, I'm just going to click on the little right arrow, and now I get a blank frame. You can keep on clicking that right arrow to create new frames. You can also navigate now between your frames by using these arrow buttons. Or you can go ahead and click on the frame icon to get kind of an overview of all of your frames, and then you can click on the one you'd like to navigate to. All right, when I created this jam, I gave my students the ability to view it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my student view now. So this is his Meet window. And now you'll notice in his Meet window, he can get to this jam in two different places. In the bottom left-hand corner, down where you see the nickname for our Meet, when you click on this, it brings up this little pop-up. If he comes over to attachments, he can access our jam by clicking on this file right here. You can also access the jam by going to the chat. And when I created this jam from within my Google Meet window, it automatically added the link to it in the chat for my students. So he can also click here. He'll be able to pull up that Jamboard. Again, I only gave him viewing rights, so he won't be able to add things to it. He'll just be able to see it. But if I had given him those editing rights, he would have been able to come in and add to it as well. So those are our newest Google Meet features. There are more coming out soon, so as more come out, I'll be sure to share in new updates videos. In the meantime, if you have any questions about Google Meet, you can go ahead and reach out to your digital learning specialist.